Hello and welcome back to another UCL fantasy video. Today we are doing the Matchday 3 wildcard guide, and essentially we're going to go through absolutely everything you need to know if you're wildcarding this match day. We're going to have a draft, we're going to have fixtures, we're going to have the best players to get, some cheap players that you can get as well, and a lot more. So if you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe for more UCL fantasy content, and let's jump straight into it. So similar to our Limitless video that we put out early today, we have got the best fixtures for Matchday 3 alone. Now these are the fixtures you obviously want to try target, and obviously the fixtures that you want to avoid down the bottom as well. So again, you can go over it again. For example, you've got the likes of Man City, Inter, Arsenal, where you're going to have more of your expensive players. And then you can see Salzburg, Monaco, Girona, where a lot of your cheaper players are going to come into it, which is going to favour us if we're using the wildcard this week, because obviously Salzburg, Monaco, Girona are filled with a lot of cheap players that we can add into our team. Now of course, when you're looking at the worst fixtures, this is obviously only for match day 3, but going forward as well, it's something to keep in mind. But this week, Bayern, Dortmund are really your two main teams that you want to be avoiding. You know, if you're using a wildcard this week, you want to be avoiding them as much as possible, potentially looking to bring them in again at a future match day, but obviously for this one we definitely want to be avoiding. So if you're wildcarding this week, I believe the best strategy forwards for using the wildcard is going to be using the Limitless chip in Matchday 4, because as you can see on screen, looking at essentially 5 teams that do have good fixtures this week, they are kind of coming into a run, or at least in Matchday 4 have a difficult fixture. So Man City, of course, Arsenal, the two main ones, the two big teams that have good fixtures in Matchday 3. Man City not so much, but mainly Arsenal coming up against Inter in Matchday 4. You probably want to be avoiding that. And of course after that they do have Sporting, Monaco, Zagreb, a nice little run for Arsenal after Matchday 4. So we want to, if we're going for like a double or a triple up on Arsenal in a wildcard this week, we don't want to have that Inter game lying over our shoulders. So I think the Limitless chip would be useful for that. Again, 3 other teams down the bottom that have nice fixtures this week: Sporting with Sturm Graz, Inter Milan with Young Boys, and then AC Milan with Club Bruges. 3 other teams that have difficult fixtures in Matchday 4 as well. Obviously Sporting are coming up against Man City, Inter are coming up against Arsenal, and then AC Milan have Real Madrid in Matchday 4 as well. And specifically more AC Milan have a really good fixture run up until the end of the campaign, excluding that Real Madrid fixture. So definitely one that you could look at potentially a double or triple up on a wild card this week if you're going to be using the Limitless in Matchday 4. So more specifically looking at the short term, if we are doing the wildcard 3 and Limitless 4 strategy, these are probably the 6 teams that you're going to want to target. These are teams with decent enough fixtures in Matchday 3, Matchday 5, Matchday 6 when it is kind of like you can work around it because you're going to have transfers by that point. But more specifically for a wildcard this week, you want to make sure you at least have 2 nice fixtures for Matchday 3 and Matchday 5 after your Limitless chip. So these are the 6 teams that I've got that I think you could focus on. We've got City, of course, Arsenal, of course, we've already spoke about them, Girona as well, someone we've already spoke about. They have Slovan Bratislava this week, and then they have Sturm Graz in Matchday 5. Atletico Madrid have a nice little run with Lille, Sparta Prague and Bratislava in 3, 5 and 6. AC Milan, of course, we've already spoke about with Bruges, Bratislava and Red Star. And then we've got Leverkusen as well, who have Brest in Matchday 3, followed by Salzburg, one of the worst teams so far in the Champions League, in Matchday 5. Then they have Inter Milan, but it is a home fixture, so you probably could get away with having still 1 or 2 players despite it being a difficult match. So based on that, we've got these 6 cheap players that I think could be pretty effective for your wildcard this week. We've got Rico Lewis in at 4.6 million for Man City. Walker looks as though he's going to be ruled out for this week in the Champions League, so he should be able to confirm that he's going to play in Matchday 3, and of course he did play in Matchday 1 and 2 as well, which makes him a little bit better of an option now. We've also got a couple of extras in there. Gutierrez, we spoke about him in our Limitless video. He has been creating a lot of chances for Girona this season. He's 17 chances in the La Liga, with only second to, I can't remember the guy's name for Girona, but he's only created 8. So Gutierrez has more than double what second place has for Girona. Girona chances created. He's got an assist already this season. He's a left back. He's a really nice option, and we'll look at the clean sheet odds in a minute for Girona as well. Really liking him. 5 million, definitely someone I would be considering. We've got Vanderson as well. Again, similar to Gutierrez, he plays as the right back, gets forward quite a lot. Very nice for attacking returns, and as obviously, of course, have some nice fixtures for the upcoming games. He's only 4.6 million, so if you can't afford Gutierrez, you could potentially look towards Vanderson for a similar kind of output. For Taremi, we've got him at 7 million, a nice option who has started in the first 2 match days for Inter. I'm not really too sure what is going on with the Inter squad, because they seem to have a totally different team for the Champions League, and they're saving all of their good players for the league. So the likes of Lautaro Martinez and Thuram aren't getting game time in the Champions League, and Taremi has been the one who has been playing, and he has done really well as well. So for 7 million, you're getting someone who looks like they're going to play against Young Boys this week in Matchday 3, and he's doing well. I think when you're wanting an Inter attacker, you obviously want to pick up the striker, and he's got one of the easiest fixtures of the match day. Again, just need to look out for early team news to make sure that he is going to play, because obviously it's going to be very disappointing if he ends up on the bench. We've got Ademola Lookman at 6.5 million. Again, a nice little fixture run for Atalanta with Celtic in match day 3 as well, and he is definitely one of their better players. 6.5 million as well is a bit of a steal for him, and definitely a captaincy option if you are interested in considering it. Then we've got Morgan Rogers, who's only 5 million. Not an amazing fixture run for Aston Villa, but it's not too bad either. Obviously, excluding match day 4, where we would use the limitless chip, they have Bologna, Juventus, and Leipzig as our 3 fixtures. So not amazing fixtures, but for only 5 million, you can't really go wrong. He's absolutely nailed in the squad, and again, one of the cheapest midfielders in the game. He's done very well for Rogers. For Villa, scored at the weekend as well, and really like him as a pick. So if you're looking for someone long term who you can pick as a cheap option to be able to afford more expensive players around him, I'm really liking Rogers for your wildcard this week. So looking at the clean sheet odds then, these are the teams with the highest chance of keeping a clean sheet this week. We've got Manchester City, Arsenal and Girona are our 3 teams above 50%, so I would definitely be looking to try and get a defender in from these teams. Obviously, we've just looked at our cheap gems, the likes of Rico Lewis at 4.6 million with a 67% chance of keeping a clean sheet as well. Very, very good option. We've obviously got Gutierrez as well, who we've just mentioned at 5 million with a 51% chance of keeping a clean sheet as well. If you've got some extra budget, that's where you could potentially look at Arsenal. 59% chance. They do have more expensive defenders. Obviously, Raya's a little bit more of a premium goalkeeper. The likes of Gabriel, Saliba are up there with your most expensive defenders. So it's one of those ones where you probably only go for them if you've got some extra budget remaining, but still a pretty decent option. Atletico are up there, Sporting are up there, Inter, Villa, Milan, Monaco, all good teams that you could, or that have a decent chance of keeping a clean sheet this week with some decent fixtures. We've obviously got Leverkusen in there at 38%. We did mention them in the Limitless video about how good their defence can be, even if they don't keep clean sheets. You know, Grimaldo, Frimpong, 2 of the most attacking fullbacks in world football, and they've both done very, very good in match day 1 and 2, both combining to have, I think, 2 double-digit hauls, or at least something close to that. So even if they don't have a decent chance of keeping a clean sheet, which 38% isn't actually that bad, they're still in the top half, they can always make up for that with attack and returns, so definitely would be keeping them in mind. And then for goal odds, these are the teams that are more than likely to score 3 goals or more in the Champions League for match day 3. And once again, our top 3 is Man City, Arsenal and Girona. So if you're looking for teams to double, triple up on, these are the 3 teams to look at, because they're more likely to keep a clean sheet than everyone else, and they're more likely to score a lot of goals against everyone else as well. So you want to be looking at these guys. Again, on a wild card, the cheap options, Rico Lewis, Gutierrez, 2 really nice picks, and they have a really good chance of doing well this week. We've also got Real Madrid in there as well, which is pretty interesting, even though they're playing against Borussia Dortmund, but they are still there. They are still Real Madrid. Monaco, Sporting, Atalanta, Inter, all in the green as well. So these are the teams that you want to be looking at attackers from. Again, doubles up, tripling up on the teams with some nice fixtures, and obviously with your attackers, they're going to have a lot more chance of picking up more than 1 goal. So with all that being said, this is the wildcard draft I've put together if I was going to be using it this week. If you don't know already, I'm personally using my limitless, but I know a lot of people will be on a different strategy, which is why we're obviously doing these videos. So this is the wildcard team I've put together for Matchday 3. We've got a nice mix of different teams, different players, and then kind of stacking up on the teams that have a nice little run, obviously considering that limitless in Matchday 4 as well. So we've managed to triple up on Man City, Haaland, Foden, Rico Lewis. Again, pretty much what I think should be everyone's triple up for Man City. I think especially on a wild card, you definitely want to have Lewis. On a limitless, for example, maybe you want to go for maybe a Vardiol or Diaz instead, but on a wild card, Lewis is definitely the best value Man City defender. Obviously, talking about the cheap gems, we've got Vanderson in here, we've got Gutierrez in there as well, Taremi's up there up front too. Really nice options that can obviously do really well. We've got the triple up from Leverkusen, Frimpong, Wirtz and Grimaldo, a nice little run of fixtures on a wild card, and probably the best triple up you can get in the game, I think, out with probably City. They are very good players and have done very well in UCL fantasy so far in Matchday 1 and 2. Our goalkeeper pairing, we've got Gazzaniga from Girona and we've got Carnesecchi, I want to say his name is, from Atalanta. They rotate quite nicely over the next couple of game weeks and they obviously have some nice fixtures too. It's not the most expensive goalkeeper pairing, it's not the cheapest either, so you could maybe downgrade Gazzaniga to another 4.5 million goalie if you had to, but this team's 100 mil or just over the 100 million budget, so it should be very affordable for everyone. I think a lot of people have kind of moved up with price rises and stuff to like 100.3, 100.4 million team value, so this should be an affordable team for the majority of players, and I quite like it. You know, it sets you up quite nicely for the next couple of game weeks and you do still have a very nice run of fixtures for Matchday 3 that can do quite well. And that's going to be it for this wildcard video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. I'm going to have my team selection video out tomorrow, so make sure you keep an eye on that. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you know exactly when that comes out. So once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.